Are they now the 10 college football quarterback recruits ranked higher than Jalen Hurts in the 2016 college football recruiting class? Well, to start, just in front of him at number 10 is Jack Allison, coming out of Palmetto, Florida, who committed to play for Miami. And he never played at all for the Hurricanes, transferring to West Virginia, where he was mostly just a backup quarterback in his 2 years there. And after that, he entered the transfer portal once again as a zero-star, transferring to West Liberty, where he just wasn't a very good quarterback. And coming in at 9 is Brandon McElwain, coming in at Newton, Pennsylvania, who committed to play for South Carolina. And he played both baseball and football at South Carolina, being a solid player there before entering the transfer portal and transferring to play for California. And he was just disappointing in his 1 year of football at Cal, giving it up and focusing primarily on baseball. And he was a solid baseball player, but sadly went undrafted in 2020, signing with the Mets. Since then, he's bounced around baseball teams and is currently playing in the Italian Baseball League. And coming in at 8 is Dwayne Haskins, coming out of Potomac, Maryland, who committed to play for Ohio State. And he waited 2 years there before taking over as the full-time starter in 2018 and dominating, throwing 50 touchdowns. And he won just about every single award in this season, going on to be picked 15th overall in the 2019 NFL Draft by Washington. Sadly though, he was a bust in his first 2 years with Washington, signing with the Steelers, where he sadly never got to play as he passed away in 2022. Cracking into the top 7 is Jarrett Guerrero-Tano, coming out of Oradell, New Jersey, who committed to play for Tennessee. And he was a solid player in his 4 years with the Volunteers before transferring to play for Washington State in 2021. And he just didn't really do much of anything in his 1 year of college football there, going undrafted in 2022 and signing with the Cardinals. Sadly though, he never got to play in the NFL, bouncing around, and is currently playing for the San Antonio Brahmas. And coming in at 6 is Brandon Peters, coming into Avon, Indiana, who committed to play for Michigan. And he didn't really do much of anything in his 3 years of college football with the Wolverines, transferring to play for Illinois in 2019. And at Illinois, he actually became a pretty solid starting quarterback there for 3 years, but sadly went undrafted in 2022, signing with the Chargers. He also, though, sadly never got to play in the NFL and is now currently retired, working as a wealth management specialist. And cracking into the top 5 is Felipe Franks, coming out of Crawfordville, Florida, who committed to play for the Florida Gators. And in his 4 years with the Gators, he was actually a pretty solid quarterback, but transferred to play for Arkansas in 2020. And he actually had a pretty solid final season of college football with the Razorbacks, but sadly went undrafted in 2021, being converted into a tight end. And since then, he's bounced around the league, getting to see a little bit of playing time and currently playing for the Falcons. And coming in at 4 is Malik Henry, coming in at Long Beach, California, who committed to play for Florida State. And sadly, he never got to play for the Seminoles, being suspended from the team and transferring to play for Independence Community College. And during his time at Indy, he was featured on Last Chance U, becoming a fan favorite. And he was actually a pretty good JUCO quarterback, walking on to play for Nevada, where he sadly didn't do much. And obviously, as a result of that, Malik Henry never made to the NFL and is now currently balling out in the Indoor Football League. And cracking into the top 3 is KJ Costello, coming out of Rancho, California, who committed to play for Stanford. And he was a very good quarterback in his 3 years with Stanford, being named a second-team All-Pac-12 selection. Following that, though, in 2020, he decided to transfer to play for Mississippi State, where he had a very bad season. And as a result of that, he went undrafted in 2021, signing with the Chargers, where he never got to play in the NFL, last playing professional football in 2023. And coming in at 2 is Jacob Eason, coming out of Lake Stevens, Washington, who committed to play for Georgia. And he immediately started in his true freshman season for the Bulldogs, being a solid quarterback before transferring to play for Washington in 2018. And in his 1 year as the Huskies starting quarterback, he was pretty good there, going on to be picked in the 4th round of the 2020 NFL Draft by the Colts. And he actually did get to play a little bit in the NFL, but has only ever really been a backup quarterback, bouncing around the league and last playing for the Packers. And at number 1 is Shea Patterson, coming out of Bradenton, Florida, who committed to play for Ole Miss. And he immediately played, being a pretty good quarterback in his 2 years with the Rebels before transferring to Michigan in 2018. And with the Michigan Wolverines, he immediately started being very good there, as he was named a 2-time third-team All-Big Ten selection. Despite that, though, he still sadly went undrafted in 2020, signing with the Chiefs, where he never got to play in the NFL, bouncing around and currently playing for the Montreal Alouettes.